Welcome to the Southend-on-Sea Specialist Teaching Service video about total communication. In this video, we shall share information which you may find interesting and useful about how to apply the total communication approach. Thank you. Southend-on-Sea Specialist Teaching Services are a group of specialized professionals. We work in partnership with schools, parents, students, and other professionals such as speech-language therapists and occupational therapists. We have many specialist teachers, HLTAs, which means high-level teaching assistants, outreach experts, and other specialized staff. About me, my name is Laurentino. I am a specialist teacher in the area of autism and complex needs. I work both in mainstream and special schools. I was a SENCO, I was the head of department. My biggest professional goal and my passion, as the slide says, is about developing an effective provision for children with complex needs and who may be pre-verbal. The aim of this video is to provide succinct information about, number one, the importance of communication, number two, the value of visuals, number three, an introduction to PECS, which stands for Picture Exchange Communication System, and finally, an introduction to Megaton, which is the form of sign language. I would say this slide is pretty self-explanatory, as indeed communication is one of the most skills we will need to thrive in life, both in society and in our personal family space. So it's really important to become as able communicators as we can. So what is total communication approach? It's an approach which involves all forms of available communication. Starts with facial expressions, body language, speech, signing when necessary, and basically it's devised to apply a holistic approach to communication which will allow individuals to express themselves in the most expedited way possible. There are many tools available in total communication. We can use nonverbal communication, which again includes sign language, facial expressions, gesture, props, objects, photos, communication books, signs, and different symbols. It can be written communication and, of course, verbal or spoken communication. They can and they should all be used together when necessary and appropriate. So obviously, we need communication to access learning, sorting out problems, and of course, improving our cognitive ability, making friends, having fun, and socializing with friends. When visiting a mainstream school, you may find different types of communication. Nonverbal, as previously said, body movements, body language, expressions, eye pointing, pointing with the hands, language-based, speech, writing, lip reading, large print, or signing like BSL, British Sign Language, or Megaton. We can also find symbolic communication, such as object communication, picture exchange, photographs, and augmentative and adaptive communication. When thinking about behavior support, it's very important to keep in mind that roughly 90% of behavior support is understanding why behavior happens. Difficulties in communication can lead to a child becoming frustrated, angry, upset, and that may lead to behaviors which potentially are not safe, like hurting themselves and hurting others. That is why organizing a very effective communication strategy system is really important to supporting children and young adults in their life. In this slide, we have a few examples of visual communication. Further on, we will explore why the use of visuals can be so helpful. Visuals are very helpful and important because they typically provide a visual structure which helps children understand their environment. Therefore, the child will become more confident, less frustrated, will enjoy the routine, and hopefully will become more independent. Here are some more examples how visuals can be used. We have a communication book, we have a set of instructions about toileting, and we have a lanyard with several examples of visuals which can be used in different occasions and situations. Visuals have the advantage of being portable and durable, and they really should be personalized as to meet the needs of every specific child and consistently used at all areas of both school and home life. Now we will look into PECS, which is short for Picture Exchange Communication System. As the name indicates, it's a system where children and adults exchange symbols in order to communicate. So, are visuals and PECS the same thing? The short answer is no, and we will explore why in the next slides. Visual aids are mainly about helping your child understand what's happening. Okay, it's mostly about receptive communication. So the child will know it's time for a snack, it's time to go toilet, it's time to go to the playground. PECs, on the other hand, facilitate a two-way communication system. That means that you can communicate with the child, and of course the child can communicate with you. For example, I want a snack, I want a toy, I would like to go outside. PECs can be typically used and helpful with children who are reluctant to start communication, who are still developing their speech and are still not very clear, or are still having trouble developing their syntax. PECs, aligned with the total communication approach, could help develop their speech. Here is an example of how to functionally use PECs as a form of communication. The child can go, I want to eat. I go for a break. This, of course, is just an example, and all forms of PECs communication should be bespoke and adapted to the needs of a specific child. Why can PECs be useful and beneficial? First of all, they will enable a child to become a more able communication partner. In time, it will develop vocabulary and syntax, and hopefully, long term, will support a child with becoming a verbal or vocal communication. And when there is need for it, PECs should be introduced at the sooner the better, the earliest age the better. We will now look into 4 different phases of PECs. There is a gradient of progression when using PECs, and we will now analyze them. Phase 1 is all about prompting the child to initiate communication. The child at this point may or may not be familiarized with PECs, so for now there is still the need for some adult guiding in order to prompt and support the child to optimize communication. Here are some examples on how they can be done. On phase 2, the child will elaborate on the knowledge they acquired on phase 1. There is some more space and distance. You may introduce a PECs binder or book. And for now, the child is still not making choices. But this is a stepping stone in the way to achieve that goal. Phase 3 is about starting to make choices with PECs. A child will typically have a variety of choices, which again should be based on motivators and things which are meaningful to the child, and that the child will hopefully choose the desired item. Phase 4 is about developing sentence structure and syntax. That means the child hopefully will be able to make more increasingly complex sentences, and hopefully that will lead the way towards becoming a more verbal or hopefully completely verbal communicator. Even though useful, PECs is not without controversy. One of the biggest criticisms is that it's very compliance-based, and many times some objects are withheld or sabotaged to prompt the child to communicate. Some critics also argue that the scope of communication can be very narrow and does not follow the natural scope of communication that you would find in someone not using PECs. Another frequent criticism is that PECs may not be suitable for Gestalt language processors, and even some people who are neurodivergent. For example, ABA, which stands for Applied Behavior Analysis, tends to use PECs and tends to have a very structured and prescriptive strategy. And many autistic people and other neurodiverse people argue that that is very limiting and stifling. To clarify, a Gestalt language processor is a child who understands language in chunks or blocks of language. The term is derived from the German word Gestalt, which can be roughly translated as holistic, and is a psychological current which initially surfaced as a response to behaviorism. Now it's time to learn about Makaton, which is a form of sign language. Let's look into some basic signs. So, with your dominant hand, make this movement. That means hello. Close your hand, make a fist, go like this. That means yes. Open your hand, go sideways. That means no. Again, no. There are several types of sign language in the UK. In this video, we will mostly focus on Makaton. Also, you can find schools using British Sign Language. That's a sort of language is mostly used to support individuals in the deaf community. Makaton uses visual strategies, signing, uses body language, facial expressions, directionality, and placement. It's all about creating a communication relation with a child using a wide array of communication strategies, not just signing. Makaton is helpful because it supports the development of communication skills, even though it has a component of signing. It does help understanding the spoken word, and it helps the child understand what is being spoken. And long term, it will hopefully help the child develop spoken speech. When the child becomes better at communicating, that's going to help with their socialization skills, also going to help with their comprehension, and of course, as communication improves, equal opportunities will be a possibility. And that is one of the main goals when teaching special needs, to make sure that everybody has the best opportunities in life. Please remember, speak as you sign keywords only, use your dominant hand, use facial expressions, and sometimes one hand can be used rather than two to indicate something small. For example, to give or to give. And here are some more tips. Please look in direction when you're using directional verbs. For example, to see, you look at the place where you're seeing. Many verbs are mimes. For example, to wash. And megaton is not just for people who cannot speak. As you speak slowly and merely gesture in speech, this helps people with all kinds of communication strategies to process verbal language. Research has significantly shown that use of megaton will encourage and facilitate communication, and hopefully people will learn how to speak through the use of megaton. Here are some examples of megaton signs. Let's just try a few. For example, boy, baby, cake. Let's try some more together. For example, to sit, to go, good morning, and goodbye. Currently, the specialist teaching services do not have a qualified trainer, even though many members of staff are advanced users of megaton. If you'd like some training, please contact Megaton. Next are some examples of useful training videos. Hopefully, you will enjoy them. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to learn more about visuals, please watch our visuals training. Hopefully they'll give you more information. You can also visit our specialist teaching services Padlet, where you'll find many ideas and suggestions about several areas of special needs. Also, please take a look at our YouTube channel. It's a work in progress, but already we have some very useful videos about several areas of special needs as well. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.